2022 has been a heck of a year for a lot of reasons, but the biggest plot twist of the year that not even the writers saw coming is just the absurd, just like out of nowhere obsession with Pinocchio. I mean, 3 Pinocchio movies in 1 year. Who asked for this? Earlier this year, we got that Russian one with Pauly Shore as Pinocchio, and it was just everything you expected it to be. And then just like a little bit ago, there was a trailer for like a Dark Souls Pinocchio game called Lies of P, which is honestly just the greatest name of anything ever. At the end of this year, we're getting a Guillermo del Toro stop-motion Pinocchio movie, and just like a few days ago, Disney themselves remade their own Pinocchio movie from 1940. What is happening? But for Disney, at least, like, of course this is nothing new. Like, they've been remaking their old cartoon movies for years now. We got Mulan, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Pete's Dragon, Lion King, Dumbo. Like, they're just really hard up for new ideas over there, I guess. Now, the common thread between most of these remakes is they're really unnecessary and kind of dumb. But that's with any remake like this, especially for one of the most, like, famous and beloved Disney animated classics ever. But the main question on everyone's mind, I assume, is how does it compare to the original? Well, the story of Pinocchio, or the Disney version at least, is broken up into 4 main parts. So let's take a look at the first part of the story. But before that, really quick, this video is sponsored by Audible. If you don't know what Audible is by now, Audible is an online service that lets you download audiobooks, audio newspapers, and just like all kinds of spoken word entertainment. If you sign up now, you can start listening with a free 30-day Audible trial, which gets you 1 free audiobook that you can use for any title in their premium selection and keep forever. Now, on top of the premium selection, Audible also has thousands and thousands of all-you-can-listen audiobooks, original entertainment, and podcasts included in the Audible Plus catalog. Audible Plus is their new service that lets you download and stream as much as you want from thousands of titles, including all Audible original content. Now, Audible originals are exactly what they sound like. Audiobooks are some kind of like audio entertainment thing that you can't find anywhere else. Or exclusive versions of books like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, read by Nick Offerman, for example. If you're looking for something to spend your free audiobook credit on, I would recommend the new Janet McCurdy book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I mean, it is a messed up roller coaster of a story, but if you're at all interested in what it's like being a child star, or the show iCarly, or just like behind the scenes of what a tween teen show is like, this is a heck of a listen, I'll tell you that. Sign up with my link, audible.com/Alex Meyers, or text my name, Alex Meyers, to 500-500, start your Audible Plus membership, and start streaming thousands of audiobooks today. Okay, back to the show. The beginning of this movie is more or less the same as the 1940 original version. We meet Jiminy Cricket, who has just gone from cute to disturbingly realistic. He does have some drip though, I'll give him that. Now, to get out of the cold, Jiminy sneaks into the house of Geppetto, who has just completely lost his mind, apparently.
Figaro, all finished. What do you think, huh? Oh, really?
Sir? That is a cat. As the scene goes on, we get one of the first major deviations from the original, where we get a little more backstory about Geppetto.
Oh, it is so young. Songs unsung. Oh, what might have been. I see him in my dreams. So perfectly, it seems. I could only make these dreams come true.
Now, I guess this was maybe hinted at in the animated version, but here they make it very clear that Geppetto was building Pinocchio because he's trying to bring back his son who died when he was like a little boy or whatever. Because, back in the day, people would just die if like the wind changed direction or something. So for the last 40 years or whatever, he's been trying to rebuild his dead son. So I assume just like right out of frame off to the side, there's like this giant pile of half-sentient automaton children, But mind you, that's not all for dear old Geppetto over here.
My clocks, they mean everything to me. Are my most special creations. I made them for my beloved Costanza. And she loves every one of them.
That's right, my man has not one but 2 tragic Joker backstories. His son died and his wife died, who loved clocks. I don't know how this dude managed to find one of those elusive clock girls, but hey, what do I know? But you see, the real plot twist comes at the end of the movie when we find out that Geppetto actually murdered both of them. And he makes a clock for every new victim and traps their soul inside or something. I don't know, let's circle back, I'm working on it. But yeah, so for the last several decades, I assume, Geppetto's been spending his days making wooden clocks and figures of very voluptuous women. I mean, this guy knows what's up.
No. Why? Because he likes you. Figaro, no. What? Even Cleo thinks he's very, very handsome.
Okay, wow, hold on a second here. Why is this fish so hot? Like, who was the executive who pushed for this? Some dude saw Angelina Jolie in Shark Tale and was just like, yes, my time has finally come. So then Geppetto goes to bed at the ungodly hour of 9 p.m. and wishes on a star that his Pinocchio doll would come to life as a real boy, but not before he does this.
The problem with that one clock, it talks too much. Get it? It talks too much. Tick-tock. The clock tick-tocks too much.
This man is telling dad jokes to his cat. I don't know if it's just like the mercury in the wood finish, or maybe he's just got life figured out. I mean, come on. Spending all day making clocks and talking to my cat does not sound half bad now that I think about it. But the rest of this part of the movie is mostly the same as you all know, like the blue fairy shows up and gives Pinocchio the gift of consciousness.
Well, if Geppetto wanted a real boy, why would he carve a puppet?
Well, sure, there are other ways to make a boy, but I don't think Geppetto gets out much.
Miss Blue Fairy, am I real?
Whoa, dude. Are any of us? So then the fairy tells Pinocchio that to become a real boy, he has to be brave, selfless, truthful, and follow his conscience.
Arise, Sir Jiminy Cricket. Pinocchio, when a boy is brave, truthful, and unselfish.
He still gets ignored on Tinder because he's not at least 6 feet tall, am I right, guys? Subscribe to my podcast. No, but like real talk, the bar for being a decent dude is literally just be Pinocchio. Uwu anime girl pose optional, but highly encouraged. Anyway, so Geppetto wakes up and sees that little Pinocchio over here is alive and talking, and he just has a full mental breakdown. So this brings us to the end of the first part of the Pinocchio story, and like I said, it's not too different from the original, although they did cut out the hot and heavy romance between Figaro the cat and Cleo the fish. I mean, let me tell you, back in the 1940 movie, this fish had it so bad for this cat. And so this brings us to part 2, the puppet show. One day, Geppetto wakes up and decides it's time for Pinocchio to go off to school all by himself, for whatever reason. I mean, the kid just gained sentience like 3 days ago, and Geppetto just sends him off by himself. I feel like everything that happens to him in this movie is kind of Geppetto's fault, really. Like, couldn't you at least walk him to school on the first day? Because, like, clearly, Mr. Geppetto, you're just so busy. Geppetto's just over here sending his kid to school, like,
Hey, so, here's an apple in the book I found in the bathroom. The bus might show up eventually. I don't know, Price is Right's on, so good luck, kid.
So Pinocchio skips off to school and for whatever reason just stares at this pile of horse manure for so long.
Gideon, a thing like that could be worth a fortune to...
Way to get to school.
Like, is this a joke? Is this supposed to be funny? What is even happening right now? So Jiminy wakes up late, and this introduces us to a new character in the movie.
Could you do me a giant favor and airlift me to the school?
Asleep on the job, huh? Who knew they were outsourcing conscience work? Back in my day...
Sophia, I really need to get to him. This little puppet is running around loose on the streets without a conscience.
Well, I wouldn't want that on my conscience.
You know, I've always said movies need more sassy seagulls, okay? Very underrepresented demographic. And so because Jiminy's not there, I guess, Pinocchio ends up running into and swindled by Honest John.
Oh! Gideon, a thing like that could be worth a fortune to someone.
Let me see. Who would pay for a living pup?
I mean, probably the same person who would pay a lot of money for a talking fox and his cottagecore chic sidekick friend or whatever this is. You know, this is also something I noticed like back when I watched the original movie, but like the lore of this world is so confusing. There are no other talking animals that have integrated into society. So like, who are these guys? You know, it's not like Jiminy and the seagull talking in their secret alien language or whatever. Like these dudes are walking the streets dripped out to 11 right now. If this is the world they live in, like why would anyone be even remotely concerned about a talking puppet? Also, kind of like what I said with Jiminy before, like Honest John in this movie, he's just like too realistic looking. You know, like when animal characters are cartoony, it's almost more believable in a way. I mean, Disney gave us Robin Hood, Roxanne, that fox dude from Zootopia, you know, just carrying the entire furry community on their shoulders for decades. But then when you have something like this, I don't know, it's just so unnerving. It's like the Lion King remake where they removed all personality and creativity, and it was just like this like really uncanny nature documentary. And like I totally get that the character's supposed to be like really weird and slimy and creepy, but this is terrifying in more like a Will Smith genie from Aladdin coming to feast on your children kind of way. But yeah, anyway.
Yes, I'm speaking of the theater. Bright lights, music, applause, fame.
Fame? But I want to be real. But my father said I should go to school.
Of course he did. All parents say that. But it doesn't recognize your genius. Who needs an education when one has such a personality?
Why even bother thinking about the future when you can just do shirtless backflips on TikTok?
Why, he is a natural-born actor, right, Gideon? And not just an actor, an entrepreneur, nay, an influencer.
No, he did not. They did not make him say that.
We need a simple, strong stage name. Schlab Oakley. Chad Log? I've got it. Chris Pine.
it's already started. Here we go. It's too late now. Save yourself. So Jiminy helps save him from John, and then they finally go off to school, where the teacher just has this, like, magic puppet trauma or something. I don't know. Like, he's just like, he's not having any of this Pinocchio nonsense.
Out! Get out! Get out and stay out! School is for real children, not the ridiculous puppets.
How is that your reaction to a magic talking puppet? Like, you'd think he'd be at least like, well, that's different. I wonder what this is all about. But no, like 3 seconds in, he's like, I know, sir, it's the 3rd time this week. I ain't putting up with none of these shenanigans. And so with no other choice, Pinocchio heads off with Honest John to join the puppet show. Now, in the original movie, the owner guy, Stromboli, he's like I don't know what or who he's supposed to be, but it's 1940s Disney, so I'm just gonna assume the worst, okay? This is probably something horrible. I mean, I don't know what these lips are getting up to, but it cannot be good. Although the man is like quadruple cheeked up, so, you know, feel about this how you will. But then this movie, he's just like the dude who hits on 16-year-olds at music festivals and like has the age of consent of every country in the world memorized. Now, we also meet a new character in this movie, Fabiana, who always wanted to be a ballerina, but guess who has a tragic backstory? And she's stuck working a ballerina puppet named Sabina.
Not unless I can figure some way out of this 2-bit small-time sad excuse for a puppet show. You haven't met Sabina yet, have you? I think you two could be friends.
She looks like she has strong legs.
What kind of line is that, Pinocchio? Although, to be fair, I didn't really know how to talk to girls either till I was like 21. You know, like the one time I got to dance with a girl at homecoming because she like lost a bet or something, and it was like, wow, your teeth sure are really white. You probably brushed them, I assume. Well, what do you know, so do I. I guess we're soulmates now. Then we get to the very well-known Got No Strings song, you know, and then right in the middle of it, this sultry, like, Jessica Rabbit puppet just flashes Pinocchio. What kind of puppet show is this? And when are you coming to my town? But then, of course, after the show, Pinocchio gets locked up, and Stromboli takes all the money because show business is bad, and you should just go to school, kids. I mean, hey, schools would never swindle you out of money. We also learn that Fabiana is overworked and underpaid, and she and the other puppeteers are planning on getting rid of Stromboli and taking over the means of production themselves.
When we get to the next village, we puppets and puppeteers are going to take back the money Stromboli stole from us and escape.
Escape?
You know, it's kind of cute how Disney makes these movies about like pro-workers' rights and unions and stuff, and then in real life they like underpay their sweatshop VFX artists and bust up unions all the time. But hey, what do you know? Look, see here, we have 2 women kissing for like half a second in the Buzz Lightyear movie. Haha, look over here. Then Jiminy shows up to save the day, and Pinocchio learns that when he lies, his nose grows, which is supposed to be a bad thing, but like by lying, he's able to get the key to the cage.
Okay?
So, like, what is the moral of this movie? Like, lying is good sometimes? Hey, kids, let me just sit backwards in this chair real quick and tell you about how lying can be a great way to get what you want. And, like, everyone remembers the parts about Pinocchio lying and, like, his nose and all that stuff, but, like, nothing in the movie, the old one or the new one, has anything to do with lying. Like, he gets tricked and bamboozled by adults who should know better, but, like, lying never gets him in trouble. In fact, in this movie, like, it only helps him. Also, they just, like, totally nerfed his superpowers in this remake. Like, in the old movie, he tells so many lies that he creates life. This kid was an eldritch god. Like, telling lies gives him Infinity Stone powers? I'm telling you, like, creating life out of nothing by lying, that's an S-tier superpower, okay? I mean, the only thing more powerful than that is, like, Mrs. Incredible's dump truck, all right? So now we're on to the best part of either movie, Pleasure Island. After he escapes Stromboli, this is where the remake differs a lot from the original. In the original movie, we find out that there's this huge underground child trafficking ring that picks up kids who skip school and takes them to some place called Pleasure Island, and possibly the most horrifying scene of any movie ever.
How would you blokes like to make some real money? I'm collecting stupid little boys, and I takes them to Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island? But the law!
They never come back as boys.
Okay. What the heck was this movie? And so then Honest John and his buddy kidnap Pinocchio again and send him off to the island. But in the remake, he just gets picked up off the street randomly for no reason.
You gotta be careful, because sometimes when peers get in a group, they like to pressure.
Like, not only is this way less sinister, but like, I feel like the moral implications are also just completely lost. Like, originally he gets tricked again by Honest John, and his innocence is once again taken advantage of. But in this one, he's just like in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then all the kids sing a song about how peer pressure is cool. But like, it's not even peer pressure. My dude's just like stuck on a speeding donkey cart. What is he supposed to do? But anyway, so then we get to meet Lampwick, who in this movie is like some random kid from Brooklyn.
I'm Lampwick. What's your name, Flats?
My name's Pinocchio.
So what's your story, Flats? Why are you made out of wood?
In this tiny Italian countryside village, who is this child? What are you doing here? In the original movie, at the very least, Lampwick had a very obvious tragic backstory of you know, being a redhead. But like, what's this kid's deal? But all the same, Pinocchio gets taken to Pleasure Island. Now, Pleasure Island in this movie is another big change from the original, because like back in the 1940s movie, okay, like this whole part is so absurd by today's point of view. Like, they're all smoking cigars, which of course come from like a giant Native American statue. They're drinking moonshine out of some guy's toilet. They're playing pool. And like, there's this one part where Pinocchio just completely fries his brain on the biggest stogie of all time. I'm telling you, this part is just completely insane. But Pleasure Island in the remake is just a bunch of kids drinking root beer, which they very clearly want you to know. And then they eat some candy and smash stuff in places that are specifically made for them to smash things in. I guess there is this one part where Lampwick does take his like giant root beer mug and like throws it off the Ferris wheel and just like murders a kid. But yeah, so all these kids are supposed to be like total degenerate, you know, the dregs of society because they like soda and candy and relieving stress through physical activity. That's right, everybody. See, the real problem with society these days is, you know, too many kids like having fun. No, sir, not on my watch. Kids are supposed to go to school, get paddled, and then go work in the coal mines or something. I don't know. But like, real talk here, this Pleasure Island place looks pretty awesome. But then it gets like really dark when the guy in charge can just like summon these evil smoke monsters, and then when kids get turned into donkeys, they just get like thrown down this 200-foot shaft. Jeez, Disney, wait, is this really necessary? Anyway, so Lampwick gives Pinocchio some life advice, you know, as 8-year-olds are known to do.
I still say it's not right to yell right as somebody's about to make a shot.
Get over it. Everybody knows psyching out your opponent is a great strategy. You gotta do what you gotta do to win.
Yeah, you see, it's all about that Sigma mindset. You should buy my book. It's called 14 Steps to Deprogram Yourself from Society and Stop Being a Beta Soy Boy, but also only hang out with dudes and not women, because women suck, but also you need to have a lot of women to be cool or something. I don't know, don't think too much about it. Just give me money, please. And so after a while, Lampwick discovers his persona, and Pinocchio escapes the island thanks to Jiminy once again, and we find out that Geppetto has sold all of his stuff to buy a boat to find Pleasure Island himself to save Pinocchio, because that sassy seagull from before like told him he was there. And this brings us to the final part of the movie, Monstro. So Pinocchio finds Geppetto in like 5 minutes, and after explaining the entire movie to him,
Danced at a puppet show and made lots of money, but then I got kidnapped and was locked in a birdcage. Then I got scooped up by a coat full of foolish kids and was taken to Pleasure Island, where I learned to drink, I forget what they called it. But anyway, Pleasure Island was bad because I grew dark ears. I was chased by the beaver creatures.
You did all that in one day?
they then get eaten by Monstro the sea monster for like 4 seconds, and then they make him sneeze and they're out of him again. Like in the original movie, it made a lot more sense because Geppetto was already eaten by Monstro and Pinocchio and Jiminy had to go like save him. But like this whole part in the remake is so unnecessary. We just had this whole Pleasure Island evil spirited away smoke monster escape scene, you know, and then they throw in Monstro at the end just because like they have to, I guess. But anyway, so at the very end of the movie, we think Geppetto is dead, but Pinocchio brings him back to life with his star magic, and then weirdly, the ending of the movie is just left ambiguous.
So, in the end, Pinocchio did prove himself brave, honest, and unselfish. And since then, many stories have been told about him. People say he was transformed into an honest-to-goodness real boy. Did that actually happen? Who knows?
But you see, what actually happens is after Pinocchio turns into a real boy, he breaks that child trafficking ring wide open, he goes into witness protection, and becomes Eric from Little Mermaid. Prove me wrong. But also, like, as a puppet, Pinocchio can move his limbs super fast, he can breathe underwater, bring people back to life, but then he turns into a real boy and loses all of his powers for what? So he can play with a hoop and a stick and then send text messages like, "Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you up? Hey. You know what? I'm sick of being ignored and strung along. You can just do whatever you want. I'm never texting you again. Enjoy your sad, lonely life." Hey, you up? But like, seriously, this kid's giving up all of this cool stuff so he can go to school and live a normal life. Yeah, okay, trust me, I've been there, my dude. Life sucks. Take it back. It's like the Beast from the Beauty and the Beast remake, how he's like super strong, super fast. He lives surrounded by ethereal magic. And then in the end, he just like transforms into some divorced math teacher. And Emma Watson's like, can we change him back? But yeah, so in conclusion, Disney has once again given us a terrifyingly soulless remake of an older movie that no one asked for a remake of. I guess getting rid of all the smoking is a good improvement because like the original movie, it is just hilariously absurd how much of it there is. But as per usual, they removed some stuff that was kind of important to the message of the movie, and they added in a bunch of other stuff that serves no purpose other than like filling time, I guess. And then they cut the Monstro part down to like a couple minutes. So basically, it's more or less what we all expected. Who knew?